I want to share this case with you, especially if you're a patient or a clinician, because the staining, the intrinsic darkness of this tooth is so interesting. Stick around till not the end, but maybe 3/4. So let's take a look at the clinical exam. Now the light is really bright from the microscope, so you can't really see how dark the tooth is, but that's a zirconia crown on this central incisor. And where I'm probing, that's actually enamel. So in part of my treatment planning process, we thought, well, if the internal bleach doesn't work, perhaps we could just extend the length of that crown, redo the crown, and take it a little more subgingival. Now the problem is that the root is really dark. So I thought about that while we were treatment planning, like maybe patients said, what about an implant? I'm like, maybe the metal would show through. And what you can see there, I think that is actually the existing access. I've got a couple of articles in the description box below where you can kind of read about the different techniques and how they work. Those are 2 systematic reviews. What we're doing here is we've gotten through the zirconia crown, and I'm using a number 2 round surgical burr. Now I've slowed the handpiece down to about 60,000 RPMs, and we're just lightly brushing. We don't want to perforate. I mean, you never want to perforate, but certainly in a procedure where aesthetics are really critical, you want to take your time. And probably the number 1 tip for doing these, well, I'll save those for a minute because you'll see them. But I'm slowly just removing composite, and you can see how dark the tooth is. And one of the first things I'm going to head for is the gutta percha. I'm not aiming to get to that dark spot. I'm aiming really to get to the gutta percha so I can triangulate and then further progress my access. Now, in a lot of these times, and in those articles that you can read, a lot of the times what I find is that there's remaining pulp tissue that's left in the pulp chamber, just in little places. It's very innocuous, it's hard to find, but there's little pieces of it, and you might be able to see it here, where the pulp tissue, I think in this case, was the culprit for this crazy stain that you'll see probably in a couple minutes. I've gotten to the gutta percha, and now I'm using a Muntz burr. And I use the gutta percha again, so we found it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unroof all the gutta percha. Give me an idea, where is the root? Where's tooth structure? So you can see as I'm removing this, you can see this little bit of like weird tissue, which I think is really pulp tissue that's remaining. And that's kind of partially the reason why this stained. Using a slow round Muntz burr or ultrasonic, and you have to remove all of the composite from the tooth structure. Now that takes time and it's a very delicate process, but my experience has been, if you don't remove all of that composite from the dentin, there's no way your internal bleach chemicals, whatever product you're going to use, will be able to make an effect. So you may go ahead and this is a very detailed, slow process to make sure you don't remove too much tooth structure, or as much, you're just removing just that composite, but you're going to brush past that dentin. So this is a number 1/2 round Muntz burr, and we're slowly removing all that existing composite. Now you can see some of that stain comes off just with brushing the tooth structure, and that's fine. What I wanted to do here is just refine my access. Now, just like in the short that I just published, you really need to use a traditional access size so you can get all the light into the access so you can see what's going on. And then you can effectively remove all the composite from that buccal wall and the palatal wall, and make sure give your internal bleaching technique the best possible chance it can have. A micro or a ninja access will not allow you to remove all that composite and allow the internal bleach product to do what it needs to do. So with this long surgical diamond burr, I'm running it around 40,000 RPMs. I'm just slowly making the shape, brushing the walls, and we're almost there. Now check out this crazy dark line. It is a perfect line right across. I didn't do that, and I sure as heck didn't take a Sharpie. Look at this. I've never seen this before. It is stained so dark, and it's a perfect black line. You know, I'm trying to figure out why it's like this, and I think it's a pulp tissue, but what do you think? Put in the comments below. So what we're going to do now is to prevent any type of cervical resorption, we're going to place an intra-orifice barrier, and that's just resin-modified glass ionomer. And then we're placing carbamide peroxide. We'll let that sit for 5 minutes. And look at the difference. Not bad. But I wasn't really happy with how deep, how apical I went, because I was a little bit concerned that that root structure, and I'm taking into consideration possible, making sure that we're not going too deep, but I want to make sure that if we're going to do this properly, let's do it properly. So I elected to remove the glass ionomer, remove just a hair, maybe 2 millimeters of gutta percha, replace my resin-modified glass ionomer, and then go ahead and place that carbamide peroxide. Now I'm not doing a walk-in bleach in this case. I just place the peroxide 2 times 5 minutes. We're going to place a provisional material and then let the patient wander around through life, and then get the patient back and reevaluate, and then maybe we need to do a walk-in bleach or maybe not. So we place a cotton pellet. You can use Teflon as well. We place our provisional material. This is just a Fuji. You can use whatever you want. And this is right after the rubber dam. Now you'll say, oh, the gingiva is pushed up. Well, look what happened 4 weeks later. I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked, and so was the patient. What a great outcome. So you can see how that's just the resin-modified glass ionomer. We're just going to place our composite and then seal the tooth up. So go ahead and take a look at some of those articles for some guidance, and I hope this was helpful. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Ash here, and I wanted to take a second of your time just to introduce our course, Root Canal Like an Endodontist. We've had it for a couple years, and we've had some amazing successes through it. Just confidence building on behalf of our students. And really what happened was, a few years ago, I wanted to create a course to help others, because I know what it's like on your endo journey. A lot of times you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you've ledged it. You don't know what to do if you blocked it. You don't even know if a curved canal, what to do. And what I wanted to do was take all my mistakes and my training from my residency and put it into a affordable online course for everyone around the world to join in. And it's been absolutely amazing. And I wanted to offer to you, check us out at allthingsendo.ca. Once you join the course, you get access into our private Facebook group where all of us answer questions. And I'm telling you, there are questions every day that you might be able to, I'm sure you'll be able to connect with, because sometimes it just takes a little bit of courage to ask a question, and then your outcome may be incredible. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you there. allthingsendo.ca. We'll talk to you soon.